Mercedes' huge F1 announcement. So we're gonna be going through that and 5 other stories in today's video. So make sure to like this video, and if you want more Mercedes news content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel hitting that red button down below. The first story is Mercedes announced they have no plan B if Lewis Hamilton decides to leave. Mercedes boss Toto Wolff has admitted that there is currently no plan B in place in case Lewis Hamilton elects to walk away from Formula One at the end of 2023. Hamilton's current contract expires at the end of this year, but the British driver and Wolff have repeatedly said they plan to reach an agreement on an extension. However, an arduous start to the new campaign has effectively ruled Mercedes out of title contention already and prompted rumors that Hamilton might opt to retire or move teams. But Wolff says he is not yet contemplating possibilities beyond Hamilton, who has won 6 of his 7 F1 titles with Mercedes since joining in 2013. I think it may sound naive, but I really struggle to think of a plan B if my plan A is still the one that is my favorite, Wolff told motorsport.com. I don't want to engage in discussions with other drivers because I'm happy with the ones that are in the team. That's for sure. At the moment, there is no plan B, it's Lewis. Having worked closely with him for 10 years, Wolff is also extremely confident that Hamilton would not leave Mercedes in the lurch if he chose to depart the German marque. I think that he would tell us early enough. I don't think that Lewis would say, "I can't do this anymore. I'm out of here tomorrow." He would always feel the responsibility for the team. He wouldn't leave the team alone. Drivers can always take decisions, but he wouldn't let us down, he added. Although Wolff ruled that Mercedes aren't currently searching into contingency plans, the Austrian has conceded that it would always be capable of finding solutions. But then, I think if you believe that you're a team that is attractive for others, you will find solutions, he contemplated. Despite a tumultuous start to the second year of the current technical regulations, a front-row qualifying effort, and a first podium of the season in Australia buoyed the Mercedes camp heading into a 4-week interval ahead of the next race. With Red Bull in dominant shape and on course to retain both titles it won last year, Mercedes' main fight will be battling Aston Martin and Ferrari for second in the constructors. While his wait for a 104th F1 victory continued, Hamilton's 192nd career podium represented another new record as the first driver to achieve a top 3 finish in 17 consecutive seasons. George Russell's retirement in the sister car, however, enabled Aston Martin to remain above Mercedes in the standings by 9 points. The second story is Russell will reassess bold Red Bull claim after Mercedes updates. George Russell says he'll reassess his early season statement in which he claimed that Red Bull will win every race this year after taking stock of the impact of Mercedes' upcoming upgrades. Like his colleagues, Russell was blown away by the dominant form displayed by Red Bull at F1's opening round in Bahrain. "I don't think anybody's going to be fighting with them this year. They should win every single race this season. That's my bet," said the Briton after the race in Sakir. However, productive setup work in Australia delivered a step up in performance to Mercedes. Russell and teammate Lewis Hamilton qualified second and third behind Max Verstappen, while the 7-time world champion finished second to the Dutchman on Sunday, with Russell unfortunately sidelined in the race by an engine failure. Obviously, after a frustrating qualifying, like the one we had in Bahrain, you say some things in the heat of the moment, he said last weekend at Albert Park. "I do still think Red Bull are a class ahead of everybody else, and for sure, Lewis and I got the most out of it." By the sounds of what Max is saying, there was probably still a little bit more in the locker. We're talking that 3/10 is a little bit. Normally, they're a second ahead. Now, they're 3/10 ahead. That's still a huge amount in the world of F1. "We're not going to give up. We're going to keep on pushing," he said. "Right now, we'll have to reassess when we bring some upgrades to the car. That will be the first time when we truly know if they work as we expect and if we can fight them. But yeah, why not?" The third story is Mercedes boss Wolff reveals new mindset about his Formula One future. The Austrian first arrived in F1 as a Williams shareholder in 2009 before becoming team principal and co-owner of Mercedes from 2013. He then helped lead the German manufacturer to a run of 8 consecutive Constructors' Championships from 2014 to 2021, with Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg taking 7 drivers' titles in that period. However, Wolff said he did ponder stepping away from F1 in 2020 when he came near to the end of a third 3 contract signed with Mercedes. But after contemplating whether he had the desire to continue, Wolff has explained that his thought process actually went the other way as he committed more than he ever imagined. Now, as revealed in an exclusive interview with Autosport, Wolff has said previous ideas of cashing out on his F1 investment have been banished. In 2020, I was thinking, he explained, my plan in a way was that when I'm 49, I'm going to stop doing this because as a 50-year-old, you're grown up. You're not being team manager anymore. But what changed then is what was the project. Buy the shares and sell the shares, like investments in our finance industry. In 2020, I came to the conclusion to say, I'm going to keep this. For the first time in my life, I changed my business strategy from an investment guy who buys, develops and sells to buy, develop, keep. It was a big change. It took me 1 year to digest that I don't want to go back into the industry where I have been doing that 25 years. But actually, I wanted to become a real entrepreneur and keep this forever. That was the moment to keep on. Wolff explained that in his early years at Mercedes, everything was focused on making the team a success because of the increase in value that would bring to the squad. That was the only thing that was important. Because winning championships meant financial success, he said, I originally signed a 3-year deal. Then, when I really enjoyed it, I signed another 3-year deal. And I really enjoyed it. And then came the crucial moment. So, it was 2013, 14, 15. Plus 2016, 17, 18. And then I signed another one 2019, 2021. And in 2020, I didn't know if I wanted to continue doing this or not. So, it was always previously linked to a contractual term. Whereas now, it's not anymore. Wolff said the decision he took to wed himself to the Mercedes team, rather than treat it as a simple investment tool, means he can now no longer turn his back on F1. Instead, he feels a great duty to lay foundations to ensure the F1 outfit has a secure future. It's my company, it's my team, he said. The problem is I cannot even walk away. I can only bring up talent and change the scope of my activities to go in a way. It's not a project anymore. It's my company. I'm one of 3 shareholders and I need to pinch myself every day of this opportunity. It's important with all the up and downs. The 4th story is Mercedes reveal upgrade plan to boost Hamilton comfort. Mercedes former technical director James Allison has revealed the specific areas Mercedes hope to rectify to improve Lewis Hamilton's comfort in its 2023 Formula One car. Although Hamilton claimed the German Mark's first podium of the year in Australia, the Brit admitted after the race that he is still lacking the confidence to push a capricious W14 package to the limit. The 7-time world champion has been beaten in qualifying in all 3 rounds this season by his younger teammate George Russell. Allison, however, says Mercedes plan to work on updates that will enhance the drivability of its car, which includes altering some suspension components to address the overall balance. The simple answer is, yes, of course we are, he answered when asked if the teams are allowed to develop across the Easter break. There are 2 official break periods for the sport where we are not allowed to develop the car, and those are in the summer and then new for this year also at Christmas. But the Easter break is a working period like any other. What will we be doing? Well, we will be doing the normal things, he continued. We are working as hard as we can in the wind tunnel to find more downforce. We will be working as hard as we can in the drawing office to convert the things that the wind tunnel found a few weeks ago into performance that we deliver to the track. And we will be working on the normal sort of simulation loop and routine that allow us to prepare for the race weekends that are coming up, making sure that we land the car in the right place when we get to the race. Once the early mid-season hiatus comes to an end, the 2023 season will recommence with the Azerbaijan Grand Prix at the end of April. While many teams plan to utilize the extended break to work on producing upgrades, the proposition of a sprint race weekend in Baku will leave them with only 1 practice session ahead of qualifying to correlate any new parts. The last sprint-formatted weekend to take place in 2022 witnessed the dominant Red Bull squad go the wrong way on setup, opening the door for Mercedes to score its sole win of the year. That will be a big deal at Baku. It's the first sprint race of the weekend, Allison said. Those are the things we will be working on and hopefully we work well and strong and have a good showing when we show up in Baku in just a few weeks' time. Despite Red Bull's huge advantage over the field, Christian Horner has been overly critical of the decision to host the first of 6 sprint events this season around the Baku street circuit. The 5th story is Mercedes indicate progress with W14 after mixed results in Australia. The sudden appearance of Mercedes at the top end of the timesheets in qualifying last weekend took the grid by surprise. The pace of the W14 continued at lights out in Australia on Sunday. George Russell beat pole sitter Max Verstappen off the line to lead into turn 1, followed through by teammate Lewis Hamilton. Russell's race would end early with a spectacular Mercedes power unit failure. An ill-timed pit stop before the first red flag had already placed him out of contention. but the W14 still showed strong pace. Race winner in Australia, Verstappen, passed Hamilton easily shortly after the race restarted but finished P2 after a race-long battle with Fernando Alonso's Aston Martin. Hamilton remarked in the media pen after the race the importance of the result. With the first 3 races complete, Allison contemplated the overall performance of the W14. He attributed Mercedes enjoying a strong qualifying showing in Australia to Red Bull being off form on Saturday was expected. Broadly, yes, because the performance level in Australia was not markedly different to that in the other 2 tracks so far this year. Different, yes, to Red Bull, but not a completely different animal compared to the rest of the field. Allison revealed the team to be in the mix with Aston Martin and Ferrari, but is uncertain of how the W14 will perform at other tracks. Yes, we are a little bit on the better side, but it wasn't seismic. So, was it expected? Well, we expected to be in the fight with Ferrari and Aston Martin and pleased to have our noses in front, but we did expect to be there.